Good morning or afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. Those of you who are not with us today, hopefully this short video will explain to you all of the different parts of our lesson. The Canvas activity is really detailed and has all the resources available as well. If you're not with us today, there are several things that you'll need to pick up on Wednesday: a unit resource guide, a sample of our first major project called Heart Songs, and finally a handout relating to music over the course of social activism in music over the course of several decades. I attached those final two resources on Canvas as well if you would like to look at them ahead of time. So the first thing that we did in class today is we went to the Career Center to print off any miscellaneous assignments from the first 3 days of class since we have not been together. Here's a list of those assignments. Just know if you're coming on Wednesday and we're not here today, we will not be going back to the lab, so make sure that you have taken care of 1 through 7 and have hard copies of all of them, except number 1 is just done online. Our learning log article from the Slick Press book is listed here. Our topic of class today is going to be activism and writing for community change. And one of the professors on campus actually wrote a really good article about that and what she does in her classes on campus. And it's in section 3 or part 3 of the press book, and it's the second article, so that's why I put 3.2. You'll notice on this slide there are 2 things that I'd like you to record in your learning log document that you have started. This is the third entry. Make sure again you put the name of the article and the author, Eliza Stone. I've asked you, you'll notice one of the bullets, record 2 aha moments. Remember, you can just copy them and paste them into your Google Doc. And then the second part is to write a paragraph thinking if time and money were no factors, what service opportunity would you engage in? So that is your learning log activity that we did in class, and that gives us kind of a springboard for talking about the rest of the lesson. Our lesson today, I have a couple of goals that I want you to do. The first one is to give you more ideas for your social issue project for the semester, and that's the purpose of this slide and the resources on this slide. The second one is to have you share different genres of resources that you added as part of your assignment that I asked you to come to class with today, and then specifically talk about one that I'm going to present, which is music. So this slide is kind of an overview of an organization that's entitled We Live in a World, and it's kind of organized through the United Nations. And the idea, it started in 2015, is that within 15 years we are going to make a difference in 17 different areas. And you'll notice there I put a graphic on this slide, which are the 17 different areas. When you watch the first video, it goes through all 17 really quickly. They use famous Hollywood celebrities. They use influential people to introduce this topic of sustainable developmental goals. So watch it. It's really informative. The second thing on this slide is in 2019, it was 4 years after they started, they decided to give an overview of where they see these sustainable goals going. This video is almost 5 minutes long, but it's a good idea of types of things we'll be doing in this class. So rather than writing a research paper, this one is, you'll notice by watching it in a video, there's so much research. Well, pay attention to the research that's done behind the scenes to get this video put together, and also to learn more about where this organization has gotten to after 4 years. The third link on this actually takes you to their website, and once you get there, you'll see these 17 images. I want you to pick one and something that interests you, and go into it and spend about 10 minutes and learn something new. Hopefully, some of you will decide that one of these ideas of the 17 would be what you would want to focus on this semester. You don't have to, but it again is just broadening your possibilities of what I will give you time to learn more about over the course of the class. This graphic, you'll notice there are 4 circles. If you look at the big circle, it encompasses the 3 smaller circles. It's one of the overarching goals of 2010. How do we do things, be things, and make things in the world? That idea is central to the activism idea of 2010. So as an example, I found a graphic of different types of hashtags that you see often in social media. What is active in one year can change the next year, and this was done last summer, so those are some of the big social media activism hashtags that's out there today. One of those hashtags, Black Lives Matter, I wanted to show you an example of learning about it and presenting it in a new form. So this is a graphic, and what it does, it kind of gives you a story or an overview of when events in our nation happen, the spike of the amount people use that hashtag in their social media accounts. And you'll just notice it skyrockets with social issues that affect members of the Black population. This slide, I want to give you an example about what is activism, getting involved at the grassroots, trying to make a difference, and why does it happen, and how does it happen, and how does it work? So in the class, I wanted to share with you this book. This is a book that I purchased, but you can find this book in every school in Utah. It started as a project in an English class in Delta, Utah. And there's an article that's written about the teacher and the class and what they did in the periodical entitled tolerance.org. So if you click on this video, it's an informative story of what the class did. Basically, Delta is an area that was near Topaz during World War II. And this teacher, English teacher, knew a little bit about it, but didn't know a lot about it, and she wanted to learn more. So she decided in her junior English class, she would have the kids do the research papers on Topaz. And then some of the students went on to take her newspaper class during their senior year of high school, and they wanted to continue on and do articles in the school newspaper about Topaz. I had the opportunity to go to a workshop one summer for 6 weeks with this teacher. Her name's Jane Beckwith, and she and her class, one of the first assignments that she gave them was to find something at home, just walk around and talk in your neighborhood, and keep in mind this was 25 years ago. Ask people what they remember about Topaz, because there were some old timers in Delta at the time that remembered what it was like with all of over 8,000 Japanese Americans interned in concentration camps right here in the United States. The students came back with all these artifacts, and so she was just like, wow, we got to put these somewhere. We can't just throw them away or send them home. They need to be somewhere. So she and the students actually built a museum from the ground up. They got the funding for it, and you can go to Topaz today and learn all about the Japanese internment camps. And that's a great example of to take an issue and say, I can do something and have it, my idea, help other people as well. Whatever your idea is, this graphic is done by the teachers in 2010 at Salt Lake Community College. Just make sure whatever your topic is that it fits 1, 2, 3, and 4 on this graphic, because those are the different types of assignments we will be doing out across the semester. So before we started this in class, I had a group of students, not all of them. So if you're not here today, you'll be doing yours on Wednesday. Share your example of writing that changed the world. And one of the things that we found out in class is that all of these writings are different forms or different genres of writing that impacted the world we live in. Another genre that I want to introduce is the idea of music. And many songs have been written over the decades that are a result of a songwriter or a musician wanting to make a difference on an issue that they feel strongly about. So I want to show you a couple of examples of songs that have impacted me and were written for social change. The first one is the song What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. I didn't put the lyrics to the song, but I included the link on this slide. So if you watch it, the version that we're watching will have the lyrics on it. Marvin Gaye's brother was sent to Vietnam, and he watched his mother, just horrified the whole time he was over there because he spent a lot of time on the front line. The song What's Going On was written 50 years ago, and it was really, even though he doesn't mention Vietnam, it was as a result of the horrible things that were going on in the 1960s, and Vietnam was one of them. Another one that comes from the 60s is a famous song by Simon and Garfunkel. And this one, I think, is, even though it was in the 60s where there were lots of deaths of famous leaders, it really fits our world we live in now, where we're behind masks and social distancing and talking about, as human beings, we need to be around others. And I think we've all found that the last 9 to 12 months has been a different world, and it's a quiet world, and it's a world where I have learned that I enjoy life a lot more when I am around people that I love and people that I'm meeting. That this silent world is not the world that I envision to live in, and hopefully this gets over a lot more quickly. I gave everyone in class a handout, and what this is, it's not my list, and so if there's any song on it that is offensive, I apologize, but there's a man at Utah State University who did his dissertation on social justice, social issues, and music of the last 100 years. And so he breaks it down into 13 or 14 different categories. I included that handout for you. You can get it when you come back. You can look at it online in Canvas. And these are just a whole bunch of songs that were written with the idea of social justice. And one of the things that's great about this activity is that it reacquaints us with social issues, topics in different decades, not just the one that we are living with today. Which leads us to our first major assignment for this class. This first unit we're in is called Conversation Unit. There will eventually be 3 letters you will write. The first one is going to be a letter to yourself. And that letter is entitled Heart List. And what it encompasses are 15 songs that you feel are great songs that cover different decades and different time periods and different social issues. Each song you will write a brief 75 to 100 word insight to the song, like summarizing this text, but more importantly, what impact it made on as social media or activism. And they will be compiled into one list of these 15 songs that you ultimately will turn in on the 10th. So we'll be learning a lot more about it next time. I just told the students in class to start thinking and looking over the list of the songs that I gave them, thinking of songs that impact them that relate to social issues or activism. And that's your homework. So we'll see you next time.